we mainly discussed about Britain and beyond. You're born in New Zealand, you live in London or Munich or somewhere else. You're born in Manchester, you live in Italy for
33 years.
33 years.
More than half of my life, please.
So
Britain
and beyond.
Do you feel as a traveler, translational writer, global? Do you feel British? Is it important for you?
I feel unwanted everywhere.
Jesus. I simply feel like a guy who's lived in Italy for 30 years, you know?
33.
33, yeah. I mean, after 30, please let me stop counting. The identity thing is actually very, very curious because I no longer feel English. When I go back to England, there is always that feeling of putting on an old raincoat and finding the old bus tickets in the pocket. But England has changed an enormous amount in 33 years. Whereas the interesting thing is that, you know, although I suppose I'm entirely integrated, both married and separated from an Italian woman, and 3 children who are all Italian. And yet, you know, the Italians, they'll still ask you when you're going back. You know? When are you planning to go back? So you never quite feel in. I'm very happy with that feeling that I'm slightly an outsider. You know, that I can't vote in Italy. I'm not sure. So I actually like that, and I feel it changes the work you do in a way that you have to turn to your advantage, because if you start worrying about it, it's you're just suffering for nothing. So certainly the language that I write has almost no immediately contemporary idiomatic expression.
So you write your books in English?
Yeah, I do. Commercially, it would make no sense for me to write in Italian, although I regularly write for the papers in Italian, and I did write some short stories in Italian for Italian papers. But I love actually the way the English has slowly become sort of mine, and the vocabulary's got smaller and smaller as the years go by. I like that now.
Did you ever think of going back, New Zealand or England?
Well, I go back all the time, so I haven't really taken leave of one place or the other. But you know, when you come from a very small country so far away, like New Zealand is, you grow up thinking there's an incredible party going on somewhere else to which you haven't been invited. And so you at some point, all New Zealanders from the bottom of the world feel compelled to go and crash the party, to somehow fool the person at the door and get in. You know, you don't have an invitation, but somehow you have to charm your way in to the party. And I continue to feel like I'm at the door trying to charm the guy at the door.
Will you go in?
Yeah, I think inevitably I'll have to, you know, either jump over the wall, find a way over the wall.
There's no party.
You've been to the Cultural Institute. You can be calm about it. I'm riddled with ambition and ego and voices, and you know, so I'm still trying to get in. I still believe in the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and that somehow working hard will bring even more happiness, and the success in doing readings like this will make me happier. You know, get a better car.
So, going back, dangerous, that means, of course, not in the geographical way, but there's the childhood, the experience of growing up.
The football games. Yeah, well, I have to say, I don't know how, obviously one never knows whether people know a little bit about one's biography, but I was the son of an Anglican clergyman who became very deeply involved in the charismatic movement in the 1960s and early 1970s, so that in my family during my teens there were exorcisms, prophecies, speaking in tongues, and there was a very intense, quite frightening environment. And certainly one of the reasons why I was glad to see the back of the UK was all that. I think also the whole London publishing scene is something that one would want to be well away from.
We should point out that you can live an entire life in Britain without seeing an exorcism.
Yeah, I know, but
It's a quite unique British experience.
You'd be surprised how unique it is. And of course I can go back and not be troubled by all that. But there's my mother. No, there was a whole atmosphere to adolescence that very much coloured London, and there was something about leaving it. And then the whole personality just forming in another environment. So you don't want to do.
Where's your mother, Anthony? She's
Yeah,
not alive anymore.
And both parents.
And how did you grow up? Did you see her?
How did you do that?
Massive family, ridiculously large family. 7 children. I later learned it was 8. So they have their own little secrets. Carnivals of chaos. It's left me unable really to enjoy the silence. I mean, you were talking about simplicity and silence. I find silence and peace in chaos. When I'm at home working, I have the TV on. Sometimes I feel the need to plug in the vacuum cleaner and just have the sound of the vacuum cleaner, which I find very peaceful. Because without the crazy level of volume and hysteria, I feel completely isolated and out of my normal childhood experience.
I say wow because vacuum cleaners have always been a problem for me. I always feel they ambushed me with vacuum cleaners. Like my mother cleaned around the door when I was trying to read dangerous books with the vacuum cleaner.
And there was a second part of the question, when do you write? I'm always quite... Audiences seem eternally interested about the procedural issue of when writers write. And I've never known why there would be satisfaction.
Just tell us.
Because I'm a vacuum cleaner kind of guy, I wrote my last novel, I just finished it, mainly on German trains, because they're usually late, and you can depend on that. And they're noisy, you can guarantee that. Even in first class, there's a lot of noise, and it's perfect for me. And so I can learn, and I write in the dining cars on the ICE trains, and now they won't allow that. So I have to
forbidden.
It's forbidden. Writing novels in the dining car is forbidden. So I lay claim to possibly the last novel ever written in the dining car.
Where do your ideas come from?
I don't even call them ideas. I certainly don't wait for ideas. It's more a question of just in what possible form the sort of mess that my life is will be eventually find a way of getting some sort of frame and form in a story. There was a period when I thought about having like big ideas for novels, and I would start. I would have what you would call an idea, like when somebody pitches an idea to a director for a film. And then I realized that was completely hopeless for me. I don't do that. And as soon as I have an idea, I try to get it immediately. uh,